Hey, good evening and greetings, friends. Dennis LaRue here with your hashtag steeltoesrequired quote of the week. It's episode number 54. For those of you keeping track of the seasons, season 2, episode 2. Hey, Mom, glad you're watching. And so this week's quote continues a theme that you've heard me use many times before. The idea of personal growth and the people you're around. Now, today's quote comes from Howard Schultz. Howard Schultz. So, for those of you that jump in, who is Howard Schultz? Who is Howard Schultz? Does anybody know? I know who he is. Hey, Susan, glad you're watching. Good to see you. Howard Schultz is the former CEO of Starbucks. Todd Strassner, my goodness, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Howard Schultz is our quote of the week tonight. Ryan, glad you're watching. He is the former CEO of Starbucks, and here's what he said. He said, and I quote, "Don't be threatened by people who are smarter than you." Don't be threatened by people who are smarter than you. What's going on, Paul? That's a great quote. Here's what I know. If I felt threatened by everybody smarter than me, I'd be all by myself. Are you kidding me? There's a lot of folks smarter than me. But there was a time. There was a time where I was intimidated by people smarter than me, and I wouldn't want to be in the room with them. There was. I can think of many. And my blog, hey, Eric, what's going on? Sorry, I'm not wearing the orange vest. You'll have to catch me this week. But there was a time where I wouldn't be in the same room with people who I felt were smarter than me or superior than me in any way. And you know what that is? That's an issue of insecurity. That's an issue of self-image. That's an issue of self-confidence, self-belief, and a lot of barriers. So here's what I found that helped me overcome it, was that issue of focusing on the challenge. Now, again, you guys know I'm competitive. So it wasn't a competition to see who was smarter. It wasn't a competition to see who was better. It was a competition to see if I belonged and to be able to step my game up and be in the room. And in my blog, I'll share a story. There's a story in there that I want you to check out at dennislarue.org. You go check that out. We'll post that link in there shortly. Gabby, glad to see you. Sharich, Bill, glad you're watching as well. You see, by being in, it's no different than sports. The way that you get better at anything is by being in the room where the competition is stiff. It's tougher. And what that does is it makes you step your game up. For instance, last week, the University of Texas beat Oklahoma, then ranked in the top 5 in the country in the Red River rivalry. It's a big game. Both teams get hyped up for it. Texas wasn't even hardly, I think Texas was ranked for the first time in a long time. And Texas won the game. So what happens the next week? They're playing Baylor. They played Baylor this weekend. They're a better team than Baylor, by far. But then you hear these things called trap games. Or, you know what? The reason they call them trap games is you got so fired up playing against different competition that they expect you to have a letdown against a team of lesser competition. It's the same concept, same thought. The level of competition steps you up. And so for me, getting into rooms where people are smarter than me steps my game up. It challenges the way I think. It challenges you to think differently, think outside the box. And also, instead of being intimidated, it helps you to be humble, to realize you aren't the KIA, the know-it-all, but you can learn from everybody in the room. But there's so many people that are afraid to get in that room. They're afraid to go up to those people who are considered geniuses or brilliant or experts in their field. And they're overcome and they're overwhelmed by who they are, that they forget that they're people just like you and me. You can get in the room with them, and you can ask them questions, and you can grow, and you can take your life, your business, and whatever else to the next level by simply getting in the room and getting over the intimidation. I mean, who heard of Howard Schultz before Starbucks? Anybody? I know I hadn't. But once you started drinking Starbucks, no offense to you Dunkin' Donuts and other coffee brands, this is not a coffee war discussion, but Howard Schultz now, everybody knows because of Starbucks. And he brought people in that made him sharper and smarter. So who's that for you? How do you do that? How do you get into a room where you're not the smartest person in the room? You're going to have to go out and find them. Or start your own group. For me, when I've been in these things called mastermind groups, you've seen them posted here, I've talked about them before. When I've been in a mastermind group, I've been challenged to think differently, to think outside the box, to problem solve, and come up with ways to grow, but also come up with ways to share to help other people grow. It's a sharing environment. I've led them, I've facilitated them, and I've been in them because they help me grow the most exponentially. So, what does that look like for you? I want you to think right now of 3 people that you consider to be smarter than you, that you want to spend time with. Who are they? Now, your action step for this week is to get in the room with them. Might be easier said than done, but you've got to take the first step. You've got to get in those rooms. Find out where they're at. Get in the room. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to take that step and get into the room with people who are smarter than you to help you grow? Dylan Emery, what's going on? Blue Collar Sports Dad. Check out his podcast. He's on Sunday mornings. Check him out. He's got a show on, Ticket 760. So go check him out. Great guy. Great guy. Eugene, glad you're watching. So here it is. Here it is. Don't be threatened by people smarter than you. Just drink from the fountain of their knowledge. Drink from the fountain of their wisdom. But also realize that you're unique. And you bring something to the table too. A lot of people don't realize that. They're so overwhelmed by the person in the room that they forget that they belong in the room. You belong in the room. You belong at the table. And you have something valuable to bring. So bring it. Bring it. Because they haven't cornered the market on knowledge and wisdom, nor have you. It's a sharing environment. So share what you know, what you've learned, add value to others. And I promise you, they'll do the same with you. There it is. I mean, don't be intimidated because others are smarter than you. It's not about just a competition to be smarter. There's a lot of smart people that don't know how to do anything. There's a lot of smart people who don't know how to share what they've learned. And the way that you can add value to others is get in those rooms, learn, but also share your wisdom, share your knowledge, share what you know. Does that make sense? Deuce, what's going on? So there it is. That is your Steel Toes Required quote of the week. One more time, Howard Schultz, former CEO of Starbucks. Do not be threatened by those who are smarter than you. As John Maxwell says, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So get out of the room you're in, quit being the big fish in the small pond, and go be a smaller fish in a bigger pond, because eventually you're going to grow like fish do to the size of the environment they're in. Bigger pond, you're going to be a bigger fish. You can grow into a bigger fish. Smaller pond, your growth stops. You reach your maximum capacity, your maximum height. So get in a bigger pond. Get in with the bigger fish and grow with them and bring somebody along with you. And that's your hashtag steeltoesrequired quote of the week. So, like I always do, I love doing this. Let me bring the blessing to you. I pray the blessing of bread, that you know no hunger. Pray the blessing of salt, that there would be flavor in your life, but you would add flavor to others' lives. Again, taking that flavor into those other rooms where there's smarter people. And also, I pray the blessing of wine, that joy and prosperity would be yours, and that the love of God would be your portion this day and forevermore. Thank you for watching. Do me a favor, if you would, just like and share this if this added value to you, and leave comments in the below. Let me know what you're going to do this week. Who are you going to meet this week? What rooms are you going to get in where people are smarter than you, and you are going to soak up their wisdom and also share your own? Let me know that in the comments. And also, the blog for today's video, DennisLaRue.org. Go over to the far right, you'll see blog. The blog will be there. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Sunday, same time, same place, with the hashtag steeltoesrequired quote of the week. This is Dennis LaRue signing off. Have a great one. Bye for now.